Greetings. We're going to take a look at seeing your love. God wants us to love people. We need to be able to stand back and look at ourselves and see how God sees our love, and is it what he's looking for. In James 1:22 we're told, be doers of the word, not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. If we are doers of the word, then we're not kidding ourselves. If we're hearing the word but not doing the word, then James says, Jesus and James agree that we are deceiving ourselves. So churchgoers seldom focus on the possibility that Christians could unknowingly be deceiving themselves. We just don't think about it. We just, well, I'm a Christian, it's all going to be great. No, we could be deceiving ourselves if we're not doing what it is we're studying and learning and what Jesus wants us to do. Jesus and James do not want Christians to fall short. So they give this word picture in James 1:23. If anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer of the word, one who practices what the word is, then it's like a man looking in a glass at his natural face. He observes himself and he goes away and he immediately forgets what kind of man he was. Now, I brought some mirrors along. You can look in the mirror and just take a quick glance. Did I comb my hair? Oh yeah, it looks all right, right? Maybe my eyebrows are all fuzzy and jumping out. Maybe I got hair coming out of my ears. It's like maybe I need a haircut, whatever it is. But he's saying if you just quickly glance and you're not really paying attention, then you're in trouble when it comes to the Bible. Because what he's saying is that most of us use mirrors to make adjustments to how we look before we leave the house. That's the normal use of a mirror. But you can look into it and then go, oh, well, I don't have time. Now the word picture is saying a person who looks in the mirror and hurries away making no changes is not very bright. But he's saying in the Bible, if you look into the words in the Bible and you don't make an effort to do it, then you're kidding yourself. James 1:25. He who looks, and that word Greek in the Greek, leans over or stoops down to peer within, takes focus on what it is that you're looking at in the perfect law of liberty, the words of the Bible, and continues practicing what you see in the Bible, and is not a forgetful hearer. And there's the main point. Don't just glance at the Bible and be a forgetful hearer and not a doer, but get busy and be doing what the Bible teaches, right? So the main point of the word picture is we're going to be blessed by God if we study, we hear the words, we practice the words. Hear the words, practice the words. We can apply this word picture to many topics in the Bible. And we're going to apply it to love right now, but Jesus made Peter very uncomfortable when he asked Peter, do you love me, for the third time in a row, right? In John 21:17, Simon, son of Jonah, said Jesus, do you love me? This is after Jesus has been betrayed by Peter, or denied by Peter 3 times, as he told him he would. Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, it's like, are you cheating? No, I'm not cheating. Are you cheating number 2? Oh, no, I'm not cheating. Are you cheating number 3? Come on, give me a break here. He was really perturbed. So he said the third time, do you love me? Now remember, Paul said love was the greatest of the 3 Christian elements. And so we need to be going, does Jesus say to us, do you love me? Right? 1 Corinthians 13:13. Now abide faith, hope, and love, these 3, but the greatest is love. So of all the 3, this is the one we need to focus on the most. Paul wrote this because Jesus had taught in Matthew 22:37, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, not just a little bit of your heart, with all your soul, all your being, and with all your mind, with everything you've got to learn to love God. Verse 38, this is the first. Now a lot of people read first meaning the first traffic light you come to and then the second traffic light you come to. No, it can mean top importance, first highest importance. So he says this is the first highest importance and great commandment. And the second is like it. you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments, said Jesus, hang all the law and the prophets, meaning the whole Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, are hung or based on these two basic principles of loving God with everything you've got, and then learning to love your neighbor at least as much as you love yourself, which is really tough to do. Now, Jesus was saying, if you grasp the importance of this way of loving, you are headed for eternal life. That's why it's so important. Love is the greatest. The word picture in James is critical at this point. Understanding and practicing these two loves, love of God, love of neighbor, will guarantee people to have a fabulous future. Now, with the mirror, James says we must be doers of Jesus' word, or it will be like glancing in the mirror and forgetting all about it and not making any improvements. We've got to say, do I see my love? How loving am I? Do people that I work with, do my family, do my relatives, do the people I come in contact say that I'm a loving person? If they don't, there could be a problem. You're not measuring up. Maybe you're hearing the words of Jesus, but you're not moving ahead and improving the way you love people. James wants us to look into the scriptures and be sure that we grasp the true meaning of love God with all your heart and soul and mind and being. What does that mean? Think it through. It means nothing can be more important to us than loving God and his thinking and his teachings in the Bible. Starting to love Jesus and his Father is basic and simple. Christian life is somewhat complicated, but on his death day, Jesus spoke about how humans must learn to love God. So, well, I just think God is great, so therefore I love him. No, you've got to learn to love God. John 14:15, this is on his death day. If you desire to love me, is what he's saying, if you love me, then keep my commandments. It's like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't work on the human level. If you get married to somebody, if you're dating, courting somebody, and you ask them to marry you, and they say, well, yes, but only if you keep my commandments. All right? It doesn't work on the human level. You parents, it doesn't work. We will feed you if you keep my commandments. This is God plane level teaching. And Jesus says, if you want to learn to love me and my Father, you must make yourself keep the commandments. Now, this is why Jesus warned about the commandments of men. Matthew 24:5. For many will come in my name, said Jesus, saying that I, Jesus, am the Christ, and they will deceive many. What? How can that be? What is he saying? He is saying that there are many who are going to be deceived by Jesus' teachers. And most people go, no, Jesus, you must be wrong. That can't be true. That can't be right. I love my Jesus preaching, teaching people. Be careful, because Jesus is saying, watch out. So following the commandments of men is a grave mistake. Jesus explains it this way in Matthew 15:9. In vain they worship me. Oh no, how can that be? How could it be that Jesus worshiping people could be wasting their time? That's what it says. That's what Jesus says. If you want to love Jesus, you have to learn to understand and agree with Jesus' thinking. In vain they worship me, he says, teaching as doctrines of God's church, of Jesus, the commandments of men. What men say are the commandments, right? Most Jesus people are not taught the difference between true worship and the commandments of men worship. And so they're not even sure they exist. Most people don't even give it any thought. Loving Jesus includes protecting against error. Well, that's a new thought, right? If Satan can trick you into a little error, he'll get you a little more off course and a little more off course and a little more off course. And eventually you give up on Jesus and you'll be believing untruths about Jesus. John 14:23. If anyone loves me, says Jesus, he will keep. And that word keep in the Greek is keep from escaping or guard against loss. They had Roman soldiers all around them. If you got put in a Roman prison, There were guards 24 hours a day guarding that you didn't break out of prison. There was no way you were going to get out of prison, because if the guard fell asleep and you got away, they killed the guard. So it was, they were going to guard against losing you as a prisoner. So he says, keep from escaping or loss my word, my teachings, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home, our residence, our staying place with him. The word picture from James is saying, study carefully. Like when you get a mirror and you go, okay, I've got 20, 30 minutes here, I'm going to study carefully. Did I shave properly this morning? How do my glasses look? Did I clean my glasses? Uh-oh, I've got hair coming out of my ears. Look out, oh boy, I really need a haircut. You study, and then you plan to make adjustments to how we love people and how we love God, and ask, are we coming up to the standard Jesus has given us to love God with all your heart and soul and mind and being? The word picture from James is saying, study carefully what God says about love, right? And then be faithful to what we learn. We don't learn it all at once. We learn a little bit, but if we look and we don't want to learn, then we're like a forgetful hearer, or somebody who glances at the mirror and goes on. John the disciple said this about himself in John 19:26. When Jesus, therefore, the disciple whom he loved, standing by, John was saying, I was the disciple who Jesus loved. And Jesus loved John because John listened carefully to the words of Jesus, and then John practiced those words. Later, John wrote this in 2 John 1:6. This is love. John is saying, okay, in 2 John is saying, let me tell you what God love is. And then he says that we walk or behave according to his commandments. Now, commandments of men say you don't have to keep the commandments, which is crazy. God gives commandments, you better do it. If the policeman gives commandments, you better do it. If the judge gives commandments, you better do it, right? This is the commandment that you have heard from the beginning, that you should walk in it, practice it, do it. Jesus praises King David in Acts 13:22. He raised him up for them, King David, to whom he also gave testimony that I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, and notice this, who will do all my will. David studied and learned and did the will of God 99% of the time. Now, most Bible reading people know, well, wait a minute, King David committed adultery. Okay, that's the 1%. And he had somebody killed. Okay, he was a murderer. But most of David's life, he was studying, he was trying to improve and serve God, and he died a faithful man, and now he's going to be like vice president in control of the whole planet Earth when Jesus comes back to the planet. Thousands of Bible words are written about King David, showing why Acts 13:22 is in the Bible. Why God said he's a man after my own heart. We should study King David's life and ask ourselves, do we love God like King David loved God? Now, we're probably never going to measure up to it, but that's a goal, that's an aim. We can say, I want to do more of what King David did and be closer to King David's love for God, and a man after God's own heart, and then we're going to be in good shape. If this is our daily practice, we are on the way to eternity.